All right, boys and girls, welcome to the session with Gayle Zientek, one of our new Get Listing Summit speakers that I'm super excited to bring you today. Somebody that you already know, Greg McDaniel, who's been on our summits before, introduced me to Gayle, and he said, you absolutely need to have Gayle on the summit. And the reason is because Gayle has a business that is 100% referral driven, and it generates on average 50 deals a year, all by referral, not by doing all the different things that we kind of feel puts us on a hamster wheel as real estate agents, and we absolutely hate doing it. Gayle has been in the business for 15 years now and counting. Like I said, she averages about 50 deals a year. She plays a lot to that. Work-life balance is definitely part of her life. We just connected on Facebook recently, and I'm seeing pictures of her snowmobiling. And then before that, I think she was in Palm Springs or somewhere sunny. She's just all over the map, playing and enjoying her business, enjoying building a business. She has 9 grandkids now. I think somebody who has a great work-life balance, is thriving, is happy, and has found a way to build a very successful, high-impact business without all the typical frustrations that I feel like many agents experience following well-intentioned advice that's just simply broken or doesn't work anymore. And so she's going to share some of her fundamental strategies with us today, how she does that. The core of it, send out cards. And I'm really excited to learn this because I think I'm going to even get some things out of this how I can use for my business. So Gayle, welcome to the summit.
Thank you, Andre. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to come and chat with your audience and just share some success strategies, tips, and add value.
I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for your time and showing up. I also want to mention to folks here at the beginning that you have a really cool Facebook group, Realtors Business by Referral with Send Out Cards. And for those of you who are watching, that link to that group is right below this video. So right below this video, you'll see a link to that. It's a free Facebook group. You'll have to ask to join, and then Gayle makes sure that she checks who's joining. But they're like 7,500 people strong now and growing. So if you guys want to connect with Gayle and her community, then just click on the link below the video, and it'll take you to her Facebook group. So send out cards. Here's where I want to start. I want to start by knowing, how did you get started with them? Like, why? Like, what made you think, as a real estate agent, and how long ago did you do this, where it's like, you know what, I'm going to try send out cards? And more importantly, here's what I want to know. What happened that got you to stick with it? Because I know so many of us try something, do it, and don't stick with it. So not only do I want to know, why did you get into it, or did you decide to test send out cards or use it, but I also want to know what happened that got you to stick with it.
Awesome. I am so excited to share. One, I have to mention my husband, Steve. We've been married for over 40 years, almost 41 years now. And
congratulations.
He's my partner in life. He's my partner in business. And the reason why we do 50 deals a year is because he's a freaking rock star. So hats off to my hubby, who is amazing business partner, life partner, and how we got started in send out cards. So let's go back before that, because I think it's important in life to kind of know the back history. I've not always been this rock star realtor that closes 50 homes a year. I was a stay-at-home mom for 25 years and raised other children in our home. I was a stay-at-home daycare provider raising dozens of kids. And by the time my granddaughter was born, she's almost 17, I was like, I want to do something else. And that's when Steve encouraged me to go into real estate. And so in 2004, I took the test, I got my license, and that's when my career began. He joined me in 2006. In 2007 is when we found send out cards. So that first 3 years in business for me, I was learning. I was getting my designations, ABR, CRS, GRI, ePro. I got my broker's license within the first 3 years. We had success. We closed probably 75 deals, so average of 25 to 30 deals a year between 2004 and 2007. I remember having a stack of files on my desk. I didn't have a CRM, and I remember asking as a newer agent in the business, and that's the question that gets you in trouble. What CRM do you use? And everybody is willing to chime in. I didn't have one. So in 2007, 2007, I attended a networking event. It was a BNI Visitors Day. My husband and I had joined BNI as the realtor of the group in 2006. And so we were going and we networked with 120 people there's this game they played, 60 seconds to exchange as many business cards as you can with as many people as you can. And Andre, as you can imagine, you don't really meet people. I got 19 cards that day. I won a book. And here's the important part. 5 days later, this shows up in my mailbox. And I don't know if people are going to watch this or listen. If you're listening to it, picture a card. On the front is a picture of our business card. It said, "Nothing beats a great referral." On the inside of the card is a picture of the guy who sent it and a message. It said, "I enjoyed meeting you at the BNI event in Kalamazoo. I would like to get together for a Starbucks and find out more about what your needs are and if there's anything I can do to help you grow your business. I look forward to hearing from you." His number. I sat at my desk when I opened this because I was like, wow, how did he put my business card on the front of a card? Mm-hmm. I called him. I said, "This is Gayle Zientek, Prudential Preferred Realtors, and I got your card." And he was excited that it was a call to action, right?
Right.
I got a card. I called him. And he showed me, we met for coffee. I sent a card to my husband, Steve. I went home and I researched send out cards. And given the options back then, we joined as referral partners because I thought this was a really cool product. But here's the thing. Here's what I loved about send out cards. It was personalized. I could use it as a CRM. So what I did is I hired Julie, who was a little gal in our BNI group, to come and take the stacks of files and put them into the send out cards CRM.
Gotcha.
And now I had a way to communicate with people over time. So that was the start. And you asked me, so why did we keep up with it? Well, here's why. Early on, I think within probably the first 6-7 months, I didn't start sending cards right away. I'm like anybody else, I have this system, I'm getting used to it. It took a few months to really kind of get into it. Mm-hmm. But then, back then our business was 35% referral. I know there's a lot of people out there that can relate. We sat at the desk in our office. We took floor duty. We answered the calls. We tried to convert the buyers and the sellers. And I was really good at building rapport back then. So, some of the things I would ask was, what's your home address? Information, personal information about them. So I could start now, creating and building a relationship. We were very much more transactional back then. And now we're extremely, 100% relational. So here was the deal. I went to open houses. I met Michelle. Michelle came to my open house, and I took a picture of the house where I was, and I sent her a card, and I said, I thanked her for coming to my open house. And it was a few days after I sent that, I got a call from Michelle, and she thanked me for the card. And she says, "You know what, that's not the right house, but I'd like to see this other house." And so we went and we saw this other house. We wrote a contract, and I converted a virtual stranger to a client with a personal greeting card, something that set me apart from other agents. And I can remember it was a delayed closing. So I took a picture of, this is winter in Michigan, picture snow, that everything's dead. Well, there was some pictures of the house with morning glories growing up over the fence. So I just took a picture, I put it on the card, and I said, "Thank you for working with us. It won't be long, and you'll be sitting on your deck watching the morning glories grow up over the fence." 2 sentences. She called me crying. She's like, "Oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful card I've ever received." And, we closed on that house, and she referred us to her babysitter. Her babysitter bought a home from us. Then the babysitter and her husband needed to move, so they sold with us. Her mom bought a house. Her boyfriend bought a house. So 5 transactions, Andre, from $1.35 card. And, let's just say average transactions, $5,000 here in the Midwest. So $25,000 in income earned from one card I sent because I met someone at an open house that developed a relationship. That kind of opened my eyes that this is a good product, and this is something that I'm going to continue to use in my business.
That's a really powerful story. That's a really powerful sequence of events. It's simple, but it's powerful, right? What do you think? Why do you think? What is it about send out cards you think that makes it work so well? Why is it such an effective pattern interrupt or connection builder?
The personal customization of it. I'm going to give you two stories that happened this week. So, we had Valentine's Day, and as you mentioned, I was gone. I was gone on vacation for 10 days. Andre, you know what? 7 people reached out to us during that time while we were gone. And one in particular that I remember, she sent me a private message on Facebook, says, hey, you guys are having a blast out in Idaho snowmobiling. When you get home, will you connect with us? Because we want to list our house this year. And so people that you build relationships with are willing to wait. We got home to, as you imagine, 10 days.
Well, that's really powerful. I don't want to brush over that. That's really powerful. People that you build relationships with are willing to wait for you.
And wait for you.
I want people to hear that.
So we went, we got the mail, and I got this card, and if you can see it, it's a picture of Steve and I with hearts. You know where this came from? This is a personal handwritten card from my friend Danielle, really great friend of mine. She cut up a card I sent her last year. So she cut the card up to put on the card that she sent me, and it just simply said, I decided to turn this Hallmark holiday into a I Love Friends Day, Love D. So what did I do? This is what I did. Use your phone. I took a selfie. Here I am. I took a selfie of me and the card, and I simply said, loved coming home from vacation to your sweet card, miss you. And her response, yeah, I know it's been too long. Let's figure something soon. I said, please. She says, when are you around this week? Can you do a 1:00 lunch this Friday? So one works. I named the place. Perfect. It's a date. So here's what I say, Andre. Cards lead to conversations. This is why I love send out cards. If you get in the habit of sending at least 3 heartfelt, unexpected cards every single day without expecting anything in return, all you're doing is simply going through your database in your mind, thinking about people, sending cards, you're going to have results. So her card, the Valentine card, led to a conversation through text messaging, which led to an appointment set for a face-to-face lunch. And here's 5 ways that we connect. We connect on social media. We connect through email, text or phone calls, face-to-face, and greeting cards. And if you implement all 5 of those ways in your business, you're going to have success. And it's about building the relationship over time. I'm excited. I get to go meet with Danielle tomorrow for lunch, and she's an influencer. She's an estate planning attorney here in Kalamazoo. We've done deals. She's referred business to me. We've golfed together in beautiful courses around the country. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to have that face-to-face. And the only reason we're getting that is because what? She sent a card, I started a conversation, and it led to an appointment. Cards lead to conversations. Conversations lead to opportunities. Opportunities lead to business.
I like that. Cards lead to conversations, which lead to
opportunities. Which lead to business.
Writing that down.
So that was this week. This was today. And this goes right in. So I'm a big believer of the 50-25-1, connecting through social media. And you're going to be interviewing my good friend, Coach Hank Avink, who created this formula. I've been doing it for years, but he put a formula to it, and it's phenomenal. So I go through social media every day, and I look for opportunities to pause and celebrate. So probably 4 days ago, I noticed one of my really good friends, Juliana, changed her banner picture. And it was her daughter's drawing of their family. And so I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cute. What do you think I did? I took the banner picture, I put it in a card. And there was some other things that went along with the family had some struggles, health struggles. Their baby almost died. Their baby's a year old now. But so like this was at 12:40. Like 20 minutes before we went on the air today, Andre, I get this text message.
Awesome.
There's,
yeah, I see that.
There's Juliana. They're holding up the card that I sent, and this is what it says. Thank you for the beautiful, fabulous, wonderful card. Sinead's eyes got huge as she looked at me and said, hey, I drew that. Thank you for your love. XOXO from all of us. And then, of course, it starts a conversation.
Right,
so
right.
There's so much that you can do with send out cards that, in handwriting notes. If you sit down and you have a habit of sending out personal handwritten notes every day, it's impactful.
Mm-hmm.
If you add a picture, it adds an element. I remember going on a listing appointment last year, and there was a card on the refrigerator of that couple that I'd sent 5 years previously.
Oh, wow.
So how about talking about shelf life?
Right.
I'm not saying that every time they looked at that card, they thought of me. I'm saying every time they looked at that card, they thought of their family. But for me, going in there, knowing that it had an impact like that, things like that caused me to continue to pause every day in my life, in my job. This is my prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
I prospect. I would say prospect 1 hour a day, Gayle's way. You can do this in 1 hour a day, 50, 25, 1, 3. Connecting on social media, send at least 3 heartfelt, unexpected cards. And over the course of the year, you're going to have so much social engagement, top of mind awareness, visibility that you have, and you can't just do this and not be good at what you do. So I'm going to pause here to say, given all of this, if Steve and I sucked at being realtors, we would not do business.
Right.
So it's important that you stay on top of your game, get the education, stay up on what the market trends are, go to events, go to your local and state and national events if you can. Be around other realtors, be around other people who are at a high level doing what they do. Because what do they say? Who you surround yourself with is who you are most likely to become like. Mm-hmm. So surround yourself with people that you highly respect and want to do what they do or be where they're at.
I like that. Talking about, first of all, I just love how many in-depth, rich stories you have around this. That makes it so much more understandable and so much easier, I think, for us to wrap our minds around seeing how it can work. I think the power of it is obviously undeniable. I really like your simple cards, conversations, opportunities, business type process. That really does make sense. I've interviewed Michael Mayer, the author of 7L, a book that's popular here in our
I love Michael.
Industry. Yeah. And he talks, one of the core things about his strategy is just handwritten notes too, for generating referrals. I find this principle of handwritten notes or cards of some sort coming up again and again and again in businesses, in real estate agents' businesses, where so much business is just coming to them and being attracted to them through almost like an seemingly effortless process versus going out there and having to door knock, cold call, buy expensive leads online that end up being worthless, and all these other usually stress-inducing, frustration-creating type approaches.
Absolutely. You want another success story?
Please.
Okay. It was actually written about. This is a book that I recommend. I'm going to pull it up here. It's called The Power of Human Connection: How Relationship Marketing is Transforming the Way People Succeed. It's written by Cody Bateman. He's the Chief Visionary Officer and founder of Send Out Cards. Happens to be who we were snowmobiling with a few weeks ago up in Idaho. And, he wrote about this next story in his book. And it's a powerful story about being in, having a level 4 habit. So when I talk about level 4, level 1 is you don't think about it, so you don't do it. It's levels of consciousness and activities. Level 2 is you think about it and you don't do it. So many people fall into a level 2 and 3. They think about it, they know, and you alluded to this at the beginning of our interview. People know that they should be writing handwritten notes. They know that they should be keeping in touch after the sale.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they should be using send out cards at a high level, and yet they don't do it. They allow other things, other excuses, other things to come in and take them away from that. So level 3 is you think about it and you do it. So if you can get to that, that's what develops the habit. So I always say, become level 4 with 2 things in life: sending cards every day and using your smartphone. And, you know, as I showed you, a couple text messages that are coming in. You know, Juliana sent me a selfie with her and her children. What did I do? I took a selfie and I sent it back and said, I love you guys. You know, it's that communication back and forth. In private messaging, on Facebook, when people post pictures and you comment and they comment back, here's an interesting one. I made a post the other day about our inventory, and I was looking over my husband's shoulder and I said, 627 listings is all we have in our market right now. And like, it blew me away because, you know, at last year it was like at 900, we were at a low inventory. Now it's 674, 627, whatever it was. And so I made a post. I made a conscious decision. This is something worth posting about. And the engagement that I got from that, Andre, was one, people, you know, stood up and said, wow, if I were selling, you'd be the one that we'd call. Mm. And so who's seeing that? All of the local people are seeing that, like, oh, you know, Dana, it led to, that one post led to one of our good friends that said, hey, she texted me at 10:30 that night and said, hey, could Steve show us this property? We want to buy this house as a flip for our daughter. Okay, so there's one opportunity that came in from that post. I got another private message 2 days ago from a guy that we sold a house to back in 2010. And guess what he said? He says, you know, not thinking about selling right now, but I know that our goal is the next 2 to 5 years, and we know that Zillow's estimates aren't always accurate. So could and if the value's right, maybe we'd move that time frame up. Unsolicited inquiries, because why? Mm-hmm. People know who we are, they know what we do, they know how to find us, they trust us, and they'll seek us out when the time is right. So that one post led to that. Back to the story in the book, I didn't forget. So, and it's all about becoming level 4, right? I take pictures every day with my smartphone. I post every day with my smartphone. When I go to events, networking events, what do? I take selfies with the people that I meet, and I have now a way to connect with them, send them a card, and have myself stand out from that meeting by bringing back something that we discussed. So becoming level 4 with your smartphone. We went to a networking event back in 2011. It was called the Taste of the Chamber. It was at our local country club. There were 20 chefs in the room, and at the end of the day, whoever got the most votes won. And at the end of the day, the Park Street Market won. So I didn't know the Park Street Market, but you know what? I like to celebrate people. So what did I do? I took a picture and I sent a card. There's a picture of them getting their silver platter, and it just said, congratulations. On the inside was kind of a cool, you know, there's another picture. They're giving a high five. Picture of Steve and I, kind of casual, right? Mm-hmm. And it just said, your food rocked the house at the Taste of the Chamber. No better ribs, greens, or peach cobbler. A win well earned. Thanks for sharing your goodness. We enjoyed every bite. Live today, enjoy life. Steve and Gayle Zientek. The network team at Evenbore Walton Realtors, which is where we were at the time. And then our names and phone numbers. Mm. Guess what happened?
Conversation.
This guy right here, he called. He said, hey, I wanted to thank you for that card. That was really sweet. And by the way, my family's moving here from the east side of the state, and I noticed you're a realtor, so maybe we should get together and see if we'd be a good fit to work together. So we did. We met downtown. We bought him a couple beers. We had rapport. We had a good time. And Kiar enlisted our services to buy a home. He closed on 12/12/12. I remember that because it was this, just a cool date.
Right.
And from that day to today, we've helped 9 family members and or friends either buy or sell homes, earned over $70,000, have attended 2 magnificent Chaldean weddings over in the Detroit area, which, like, if you've never been to a party like that, you're missing out. Put it on your bucket list. And we've been invited to Super Bowl parties. We've been invited to birthday parties. They treat us and know us and love us as family. So one card sent because it was a habit to just celebrate people has led to some of the most impactful relationships and business that we've had in our career as realtors.
So what's the mindset? What is the mindset that keeps this a positive experience at all times? Because I would have to guess that wanting to do it tit for tat, right? To, like direct correlation, make 100 phone calls, get 3 appointments. It doesn't quite work like that, right? That's obviously not how this works. You can't just make people want to call you. So what is the core mindset? I've heard you mention a few different things: celebrating people or moments, engaging with people and creating conversations, right? There's a few different things I've heard you say. If you could boil it down to one essential mindset to keep, top of mind as you're doing this, as a way of doing things, what would be that mindset of success when it comes to handwritten notes, send out cards in general?
Send to give.
Okay. Break that down for us a little bit deeper. What are you giving? An experience, a moment of appreciation, a moment of love? Like, what is it that you're doing when you're saying send to give? What in your mind?
You're not expecting anything in return. I'm not using this as marketing. Cody talks about in his book, the strategy of the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time it's about relationships. 20% of the time it's about marketing. I'll score myself at a 95.5. 95% of the time, every card I send is about the relationship. 5% of the time it's about marketing. And when you send a give, not expecting to get anything in return, the universe gives back. So it's the law of reciprocity. Like let's take the simple birthday card. And there might be some agents out there that they'll go buy a bunch of birthday cards. And what do? They write on the envelope, they sign their name, and then they put 2 of their business cards on the inside of the envelope for the birthday card. And then the recipient gets it and they open the card and they go, "Oh, I got a birthday card." Oh, they probably just want my business.
Mm-hmm. Or like the one time a year I get a card from like the chiropractor or the dentist.
Hey, it's time for your appointment.
Yeah.
Now let's play on that a little bit. Your chiropractor or your dentist, what if they implemented relationship marketing? And over the course of the year, they sent you a birthday card that had nothing to do with them. It was just, "Hey, Andre, happy birthday." They know what your birthday is because they have your medical records. And then they send you a holiday card just to, they send all their patients a holiday card. And then maybe they send a New Year's card, or they send "Hey, it's summer." Like, maybe individually, wherever you're at. Right. And then once a year, mixed in with that, you get 5 cards a year. And one of them happens to be, "Hey, it's time to schedule your appointment." Do you feel a little bit better about scheduling your appointment when they've been in relationship with you now with 4 other cards? That's the 80-20 rule.
I see that.
Most businesses don't adapt to that or adopt that. And so I would encourage people. That's why I say 3 unexpected cards every day. And that leads to a rhythm of prosperity.
I like that, rhythm of prosperity.
So if you picture a wheel, up here you have a contact, a prospect, kind of thing, the wheel of success. So the prospect becomes a contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a name, and now you've nurtured, and they become a prospect to a contact. They're a contact first. I'll get this right. They're a contact. You have a name. They were a name. They were a contact.
Right.
When Kiara called, he became a prospect.
Okay.
And then when we met, he became a customer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a good experience. So then he became a referral partner
Mm-hmm.
that referred us to another contact. And when you look at that wheel and you keep moving, it becomes a rhythm of prosperity.
I like that. I'm going to draw that out for myself.
And you don't have to go win your whole freaking city. All you have to do is win top of mind with 150 to 200 people who know, like, and trust you.
And for most people listening to this, they can start on their Facebook. Like, that's where you start, by just remembering who you're connected with in the first place.
And here's where people say, well, I don't have that many past clients. You know, they think of in implementing.
It doesn't have to be just past clients.
When I say 3 cards a day, they go, well, I don't have that many people. Okay, well, how many friends do you have on social media? And they're like, 1,200. I go, okay, you have a good supply of people that you can now start to get into relationship with. Break those down. How many, take your top 100 and just nurture those relationships. Notice, just like I did with Juliana, when she changed her profile picture to her banner picture to a picture that her daughter drew, I knew instantly, because I'm level 4, that needs to go on a card. So you just get in the habit of recognizing opportunities. It takes time on task. It really does. People say, well, I don't know what to say. I didn't know what to say 30,000 cards ago. I'm much better now at what I do. I send an average of 10 cards every day.
So it's really interesting that you say, I didn't know what to say. People say that, and you figure it out. So, by the way, I don't want to gloss over that. You said you now send out 10 cards a day. I'm going to circle back to that. It's actually another question I want to ask you, but I wanted to share something. About 2 weeks ago, I don't know where I heard this. I think it was on a podcast, or somebody was talking about this. And what they advised or referred was, and they were sharing this from their own personal experience story, was this guy was telling somebody else, hey, a while back, somebody told me to try this, and I've been doing it. It's been working great. You think of somebody, because people randomly pop into our mind all the time, right? You think of somebody, and then what you do is you just send them a text saying, you just randomly popped into my mind, thought I'd say hello. Because you don't know what to say, right? So, but that's what happened. Mm-hmm. I tried that randomly my goal was to do it 3 times a day with 3 different people that would pop into my mind for 3 days in a row. So it's going to be 9 people. I just wanted to see what would happen. I got such emotional responses to that. Literally emotional responses. Men sending me text messages back saying, that was so sweet of you, and then a whole paragraph about how their life is going. Unsolicited. All I said was, you randomly popped into my mind. I thought I would say hello. So I could just imagine how much more powerful a photo and 2-3 sentences could be, how much more powerful that could be than just a little text message. You know what I mean? Saying, hey, I just thought of you. Thought I'd say hello. Right.
And I'm going to do that. That's what happened with the text messages with Danielle. Mm-hmm. Created a conversation, and people want to know that they're being thought about. One of the ways, see, I keep this here.
Appreciate
my little sticky note that says these are the 5 ways to communicate: social media, text, phone call, email. I don't do email much unless it's with clients and that's what they prefer. Face-to-face and greeting cards. Text, a text message is so much more powerful. People don't want to talk on the phone. Do you find that? Like, we have a limited attention span. And
you know what's funny? It's either I'm texting people, Facebook messaging people, or skipping the phone to go all the way to a Zoom video conversation. it's like extreme. It's either or. It's either like these quick text messages, text meaning phone, Facebook Messenger, right? Like you're saying, or it's Zoom video calls.
Well, because it really helps us to know how we're feeling about the conversation. Like you and I, here's how we met, right? You messaged me, hey, you used Greg McDaniel, who is my hashtag BFF. We have a fun story about that. So the moment you mentioned Greg McDaniel gave you credibility to me, right? So then we spoke. I was at the airport in Salt Lake City getting ready for the adventure. And we spoke, and here we are now on Zoom. And I asked you a couple questions before we started because, you know, building a relationship, we don't know who we're coming in contact with. And it's important to ask questions. No matter what we do in life, ask questions. If you see something on social media, and this comes in with the 50-25-1, and you ask a question, how do you feel about that? Or maybe you take it in a private message and say, I noticed you are experiencing a sad moment in life. And I just wanted you to know that I see you, I'm here for you. Let me know if there's anything I can do. You know, you don't post that out in public eye, but that personal. And then that's what leads to a conversation, which then can lead to, oh, you know what? I need to drop a card in the mail. This happened. I had a conversation. I had someone reach out to me with a question. We had a conversation that was like earlier in the week. So last night I was thinking about the person and I just like sent him a card. I sent him a message. I'm thinking of you. And then I followed it up with a card so that, you know, 3-4 days from now, they can go to their mailbox and they can know that they've been heard. Do you understand that?
I do. Appreciation never goes out of style, right? Feeling appreciated, feeling like somebody appreciated me and noticed me. That's evergreen, baby. You want to talk about evergreen marketing, right? Or marketing effective.
Write down this quote: appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. And, you know, Michael Mayer says it. Cody wrote in his book, what you appreciate appreciates.
Appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. Is that the quote?
Yeah. And what you appreciate appreciates. So if you appreciate money, it'll appreciate. If you appreciate friendships, relationships, it'll appreciate. It'll gain more value.
Let me get tactical for a few minutes, just because I want to make sure that there's no friction or resistance from anybody listening to wonder how to implement. Though we've been pretty thorough, I feel like. But let's go back to, you said 2004, you got into real estate, and it wasn't until, I think you said 2006 or 2007 that you had your first experience with send out cards. But even after signing up and realizing that send out cards could be your CRM, it was still about 6-7 months before you started using it. Let's say I were a real estate agent, because we've got thousands listening in the audience right now, but let's say I'm a real estate agent, and let's say I'm having this one-on-one private phone call with you, Gayle, and you're going to coach me right now how to, over the next 30 days, take action. Not set up a send out cards account and then wait 7 months, right? Walk me through it. Coach me. Okay, today's day one. Here's your 30-day plan, Andre. Here's how you're going to implement send out cards or using notes and cards in general. Just walk us through like the first implementation steps.
Make a list.
Of what?
Make a list of everyone who's had an impact in your life.
Okay. Make a list. I'm going to write these down, so let's take our time. Make a list of all
everyone,
who
the people who've had an impact in your life.
Okay.
From your grade school teachers to your parents to your aunts and uncles, cousins, best friends, mom's friends, dad's friends, whoever comes to mind. And I'm going to say, take time to make this list and think about the impact that they had. And then we're going to turn that into, you're going to send cards. So one, make a list of the people who have had an impact, and just generally people that you enjoy being with.
Okay.
So go through your phone, go through.
Could be in the distant past, could be somebody you see regularly, right?
Yes, because here's the thing, you know, people who've had an impact on me that were maybe years and years ago, and like I'll pick my mentor when I got into the business, John. John like tolerated me profusely. I'd go sit in his office, I'd ask him questions, I'd go on appointments with him. And so when I think of John, I think of he's a mentor. He was a mentor of mine, and he would be one I'd write on the list and one that I'd want to send a card to, which I have many, many times over the years, just reminding him of the impact that he had on my life and what it meant to me and thanking him for that. And I always send him some brownies or something because that's what's fun to do. So make that list of people who have an impact on you or people that you also want to have in your business. So, you know, it's the memory jogger. Write down the list of everybody. And then over the course of the next 2 weeks, you're going to send at least 3 cards every day, without exception. And at first it's going to take longer, Andre, because
it's new.
Because it's new. And when we start something, but here's the impact on these cards, because we're putting our emotion into them, there's going to be an emotional response when the person receives the cards. So it means something to put your heart and soul into a card. And I'm not saying to write a story. I'm just saying, you know, pick a card from the card catalog or take a picture off Facebook or whatever you can. Sit down with your note and pen and pen it out. But do this 3 times every day for the next 2 weeks. So over the course of 2 weeks, I think you're going to have like 42 cards or something that have gone out. Here's the compounding effect. As you keep doing it, if you get into a habit and you keep doing it, it doesn't stop. I mentioned to you I sent 10 cards a day. I didn't always send 10 cards a day, but that's my average today. At least 3 to 5 of those are personal, heartfelt cards. I have a constant flow of good energy that's going out from me to the universe that's continuously coming back in the form of 22 people in our pipeline this year.
Yeah, you mentioned at the beginning of the call. And what's funny is now in the context of the fact that inventory is at an all-time low, but you have 22 deals already in the pipeline this year.
And out of the 7, I think we have 7 or 8 listings. How powerful do you think listings are going to be in a market where we have a limited inventory?
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell them to do. Sit down, make a list, and then get into action. Send those cards, and then continue to build on that each day. Go through social media, and I would teach them the 50-25-1 way.
And for those of you who are listening, that's the session with Hank Evink. So make sure you catch that, because that whole session is just about 50-25-1.
Yeah. Connect, contact, conversate, create, relationship, and then send cards.
Let me ask you this. Back to the first 2 weeks, send 3 a day minimum, send 3 a day for 2 weeks minimum. The way you teach it, using send out cards, there's an opportunity for a photo. What do you do if you don't have a photo? Do you go pull their photo off Facebook? If you don't have a shared photo with them, that feels weird or creepy. What do you do for the photo then?
And caution people. Don't be weird and creepy. If people aren't used to getting cards from you, and that goes back to, people are used to getting cards from me now. I've sent over 30,000 cards in the last 11 years. And so when an envelope in the mail shows up, it's usually kind of fun. People are expecting that. Send Out Cards has hundreds, maybe thousands of pre-designed cards for every.
So you would use some stock images.
Use stock images.
Something funky, something funny from Send Out Cards.
Yeah, think about the person you're sending it to, and think about them and what they like.
Right. What's their sense of humor? What's their likes, preferences, that sort of thing.
Yeah, if they like to bike ride, just do a word search, like send out cards for cards with bikes on them.
Gotcha. But then if you do happen to have a picture with somebody on Facebook from a year ago at a networking event where you took a selfie together, somebody you can use that on the cover. It's like, hey, I was going through my Facebook images and saw this and thought of you. Thought I would send it to you and have a laugh.
Go through your phone. How many pictures do you have on your phone?
With people, yeah.
Yeah, I have
hey, remember when?
9,000 pictures on my phone. And so I could go back, like scroll through, do the magic, like stop, Russian roulette. Oh, that's who I'm going to send a card to. This is fun. If you look behind me, those of you can see, I've gotten from that snowmobiling adventure, I'm receiving cards almost every day from pictures I posted on Facebook.
Oh, hilarious.
I'm not creeped out at all. I'm really
people are taking them and putting them on cards and sending them to you.
Yes.
What's funny is that you're getting back what you put out, which is exactly what life is, right? But you get even down to the actual form of how you're putting out your energy into the world. Cards, you're getting that exact energy back. Cards with pictures on them. That's so interesting.
So let me just highlight one. This one actually came today. Okay. And there's a picture of Steve and I, and it says, "This is love." And it's from my friend Cara Heron, who is a realtor. She was in my referrals for a living class. Okay. And it's really, this is all about us. So the quote on the top says, "One day you will kiss a man who can't breathe without and find that breath. You can't breathe without and find that breath is of little consequence." And it says, "Dear Gayle, 2/16/19." So she created this on 5 days ago. And I teach people, date your cards, because when you send cards, I will never, ever throw this card away because it's meaningful. It says, "What a beautiful gift you two have. 40 plus years of a beautiful relationship, not found very often in life today. What a treasure and true example of what we all long for and desire in this world. May God always bless you both abundantly and unexpectedly. Grateful for you, Cara." And so this unexpected card that landed in my mailbox today is one of the reasons I continually and will forever send cards every day, thinking about other people and looking for opportunities to celebrate them and what's going on in their life that inspires me, because it uplifts, edifies, and it raises the vibrational energy of our world, which as well as I do, we can use a lot more of that these days.
I agree. Gayle, this has been absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to share this and just sharing the mindset, the process, just sharing so many rich stories that make it easier to understand the possibilities with this. I think stories make things so much more understandable, right? So
let me just pause here for a second, because that period when we started using send out cards so 2007 to 2011, if you remember the market in real estate during that period of time, it was very dismal. That was our recession. There was not much movement going on, and we focused on our relationships during that time. So 2008 to 11, at 2012, we opened our own company with 100% referral business, closing 50 plus homes a year, and we have not looked back. But I was consistent. What I want people to realize is, do it without the results long enough until the results catch up.
And then you'll find it much easier to keep doing it, probably. But
I believe I had those little victories and some big victories that kept me engaged, that kept me in activity. And because I stayed in active sending, we have not had a lull in our business in 8 years.
Wow.
8 years, 50 homes a year, 100% referral business. In 2017, we received over 200 referrals. And the only reason that was my year for the word attract. And I'm like, I am attracting 100 real estate referrals. And by May of that year, we had 60 67 or 87. I said, oh, I better up my I am statement. So I'm attracting 200 referrals. And that's really the only year. I don't really do a whole lot of spreadsheets. I know where my business comes from, past clients, sphere of influence, BNI. I keep track of that, but I don't keep track of how many come in, because people, as long as you have a steady flow of people coming in and asking and inquiring and, like our friend Neil did, hey, I'm not really looking to move for 2 to 5 years. However, let's talk about value. And you keep that going. That's the rhythm of prosperity in your life and in your business. It's what sets it apart and allows us to continue to do what's work. Don't, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but don't keep chasing after shiny objects. Find what works for you and have it be your one thing. Stick to it, be consistent, and and where your comfort level is, and you'll have success all day long. So I just wanted to share, because during that period of time when the market was bad is when we actually built up to our referral business. We've been able to maintain it by our consistency over time.
One of my morning books I'm reading right now is Awaken the Giant Within, for my morning reading, Tony Robbins classic. And what you just said reminded me of something that I read this morning, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to very quickly here find it off the top here immediately. But it resonates even within my morning's reading, and I wanted to echo what you just said, also to just point out, what you focus on, or one thing that we all have control over, I believe, as humans, is we have control over what we focus on, right? We can choose what we focus on. We can't always choose, as the classic quote goes, you can't choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond to it, right? We can't always choose. What I hear you saying is, you can't always choose what you focus on, or what happens to you, but you can choose what you focus on. The thing about focus is, it's like, let's say I want to get healthier in my body, or I want to get more vibrant relationships. Start focusing on that, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, right? It's going to take a little bit of time for your relationships to catch up with your focus. It's going to take a little bit of time for my body, to catch up with my focus on health or vibrancy, right? So what I'm hearing you say there in different words, correct me if I'm wrong, is stay focused on it and the success will come, but stay focused on it and know that it might take a little bit of time for things for reality to catch up with your vision.
Yes, it's time on task. It's to develop your skill set, and it takes experimentation to know what feels right, how it looks. But then when you get a victory, you gain confidence. And when you gain confidence, it could lead into the momentum. I feel like I've had enough time on task. I've developed my skill set. I could send out cards. I have stories. I have stories for 10, 11 years of how send out cards has impacted our life, has impacted our business. And so it's led to victories, and I have total confidence in who I am and what I'm doing and how I present this. And my momentum has come in the form of 100% referral business, has come in the form of people reaching out to me and asking me, hey, I want to learn about send out cards from you. It's an attraction business. My prospecting is me being the best version of me, and it'll attract people to me that I can help and add value to.
So to recap what we've talked about here, the core principle, the core mindset when I asked you was send to give. Send to give. Not expecting anything in return. And then you went on to share that it's an 80-20 of 80% relationship, 20% marketing. I like how you share that, if a business followed up with me, a chiropractor or dentist, with more personal things, then I'll be much more likely to take action on the one marketing piece when they ask me, it's time to schedule your appointment again. I really like also what you shared, and I started and highlighted it here, is cards lead to conversations. Conversations lead to opportunities. Opportunities leads to business, right? And then I took notes here and heard you share the circle of success. Contact turns into a prospect, which turns into a client, which can become a referral, which gives you more contacts, and around you go. Really liked your quote, appreciation wins over self-promotion. Appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. And what you appreciate appreciates. I think those are our two power quotes for today, for this session. And then for those who are getting started, what you say is, one, make a list of everybody that's had impact on your life, whether it's in the distant past or today. Really think about it is what I heard you say too. Really, that's what I wrote down, is really sit down and think about it. Don't hurry. Really write out a meaningful list, and then commit to sending 3 cards a day for 2 weeks at a minimum. Mm-hmm. Right? Yep. And if you do just that, people will probably start getting a lot of you know what? I would have to imagine, transactions aside, just the emotional momentum and the positive feeling that somebody might get after doing this for 2 weeks, 3 times a day, sending out 3 cards a day. Just the emotional positive momentum alone, I feel like would be, I don't know, for lack of a better word, addicting in and of itself.
And I'll caution them to divorce themselves from the response or the outcome.
Right.
Because if
you're doing this to do it to give. You're
doing it to give. And if you add in the emotion of I'm going to see what I get back from it, it's not going to have the same impact. So divorce yourself from, people say to me all the time, well, I've sent out 30 cards and nobody's responded. I'm like, well, did you send them out to get something back?
Right.
Or did you just send them out to give of yourself to that person and celebrate that relationship? I said, I send an average of 10 cards a day. I might hear from maybe 3 to 5 people a week is what I hear back from. And in reality, if I was keeping score, I might be disappointed, but it's not for me. I'm sending cards for them. I'm sending cards because they came across my path. Something happened is significant in their life, and I get the opportunity to pause in my day and celebrate them.
I like that.
I get more out of that than sometimes maybe the person receiving it.
Right. I can imagine. Gosh, at this point, I mean, I can just imagine how built up your happiness muscle is, your gratitude muscle is, and your positivity muscle is after sending 30,000 cards, right? I have to imagine you're probably a power user too. You're probably like, whatever send out cards algorithm is on the back end. I have to imagine you're like a power user.
I'll challenge anyone to a sending duel.
I love that. Again, folks, if you're interested in connecting with Gayle, learning more from her, being in touch with her on a regular basis, maybe even getting a surprise send out card from her, who knows? The link right below this video goes to her Facebook group. It's free. It's a free resource. Awesome community. Gayle is engaged in there. So click on the link. Go ask to join her Facebook group. And that's where you can plug in with her and her community. Gayle, again, such an awesome interview. I didn't know that we could have a whole hour-long interview about send out cards, but when you explain it the way you explain it, with really what goes into it, the mindset, the concept behind it, what you're really accomplishing, it's so much more deeper than just sending out a card. It's just sending out the card is the act within that process, right, of what you're putting out in the universe and how you're building these relationships and then staying in touch with them. I'm reminded of some stats here in closing. I think NAR says, there's a stat from NAR. There's a couple of stats from NAR that I'm reminded of right now. One is that 74% of business, on average, goes to the first agent that a prospect has a meaningful conversation with. 3/4 of the pie, right? It's a little higher for sellers and a little lower for buyers, but the average is 74%. 3/4 of the pie goes to the first agent to get in a real meaningful conversation. Back to the process you described, cards lead to conversations. Right? And the other thing that I'm thinking, and I forget this out, but I think NAR says that something like NAR, National Association of Realtors, says something like 95% or something like that of real estate clients say they would use their real estate agent again. but how many ever actually do? Way less than the number that say they would. Why? Number one reason, lack of follow-up by the agent.
Yeah, they don't remember who they were,
they don't
or
say,
how to connect with them.
and if you've moved brokerages or anything like that, boom, I mean, you're done, you're gone. Like they're not going to find you. Yeah. This is such a really simple, easy, low tech, low friction, meaningful, fun way to grow your business.
It's simple. You know, in today's marketplace, people are looking for simple.
Simple is doable.
I have Facebook. I have send out cards. Those two things are making me millions and millions of dollars.
I absolutely love that. Awesome. Well, there's the mic drop. Gayle, thank you. Gayle, thank you so much on my behalf and on behalf of all the other speakers showing up and contributing to the overall goodness and the value of the summit. And also just thank you on behalf of everybody attending the summit, all of our attendees, my tribe, our audience. On behalf of them, I know they've gotten a lot of value out of this. So I just want to say a big, heartfelt, warm thank you. I really do appreciate you and what we've done here today.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be here, to be introduced to you through our good friend Greg, and looking forward to helping you spread the word of how agents can build their business the way that's meaningful for them.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. Gayle Zientek. And if you want to get in touch with her and learn more about her and continue to have a relationship with her, just click on the link below to go to her Facebook group. And we'll see you guys on the next session.